Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to hear me tonight, because what I'm about to say is going to shake your spirit. Have you ever asked yourself, why did they reject me? Why did they reject me? Why did they lie on me? Some of you have been through pain so deep that it made you question your very existence. But I came here to tell you tonight, God allowed it. He let them hurt you, but not to destroy you. He let them walk away, but not to abandon you. He allowed the pain because there was something greater on the other side of it. Look at your neighbor and say, the pain had a purpose. Pain is the passport to purpose. Pain is the passport to purpose. That's something many of us don't want to hear, but it's the truth we must embrace. You see, nobody ever stepped into their destiny without first walking through difficulty. Nobody ever became great without first being wounded. If you look at the most successful, influential, and powerful people in history, they all have one thing in common. They went through something that should have destroyed them, but instead it defined them. Think about the butterfly. Before it ever spreads its wings, it goes through a painful process. Inside that cocoon, it is trapped, squeezed, and transformed in the dark. But here's the secret. When it finally tries to come out, it struggles. And do you know what happens if you try to help it by breaking the cocoon for it? The butterfly will never develop strong wings. It needed the struggle to gain the strength to fly. And some of you are asking God to take away your struggle, but He is saying, no, because if I take away the process, I take away your power. Betrayal is the price of elevation. The moment you start rising, people will start switching up on you. The people you thought would always be there will suddenly become strangers. It hurts because betrayal never comes from the enemy. It comes from those close enough to touch you. But hear me. Betrayal is the key that unlocks the next level. Some of you are stuck in your pain, replaying what they did to you. But I need you to see it differently. They weren't destroying you, they were delivering you. If they never lied on you, if they never stabbed you in the back, if they never walked away, you would have stayed where you were. Their betrayal was God's way of shifting you into something greater. Rejection is divine redirection. Some of you have been crying over doors that closed, relationships that ended, opportunities that slipped through your fingers. But I came to tell you, nothing that belongs to you will ever leave you, and anything that left was never meant for you. When you understand this, you stop chasing people who don't value you. You stop begging for opportunities that were never designed to hold you. When one door closes, it's because God is about to open something bigger, but He couldn't do it while you were still holding on to something small. That job you didn't get. It was because something better was coming. That person who left, it was because they weren't assigned to your destiny. You don't lose people who were truly meant for you. You only lose the ones who were never part of your future. Isolation is preparation for revelation. You ever notice how before something big happens in your life, you start losing people? It's not a coincidence. When God is about to take you higher, He separates you. Some of you are fighting for relationships that God is trying to remove. You're sitting in loneliness, thinking you're being punished, when in reality, you're being positioned. Great things are never birthed in crowds. They are birthed in isolation. You don't need validation from people who can't see your vision. Stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. When God gets ready to elevate you, He will make sure you have the space to hear His voice. The crushing produces the oil. You want the anointing, but you don't want the crushing. It doesn't work like that. In order to get oil from the olive, it has to be crushed. There is no shortcut to greatness. The pressure you are under right now is producing something in you that comfort never could. You are being stretched, tested, and broken. But when you come out of this, you will carry something powerful. You see, pain doesn't leave you empty, it leaves you equipped. And that's why you have to shift your mindset. Stop asking, why me? And start declaring, use me. If the crushing is what it takes to release the oil, then let it happen. Your enemies are secretly working for you. Some of you are worried about people plotting against you. But let me remind you, even your enemies are on God's payroll. The people who talked about you, the ones who tried to sabotage you, the ones who laughed at you, God was using them to push you into destiny. If it weren't for your enemies, you wouldn't have the motivation to grow. If it weren't for the pain they caused, you wouldn't have discovered your strength. Your enemies are like a slingshot. The more they pull you back, the further you will be launched forward. So instead of being bitter, start thanking them. They thought they were burying you, but they didn't know you were a seed. Delayed, not denied. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Some of you are looking at your life and wondering why things aren't moving the way you expected. You're watching other people get ahead, and you're thinking, God, did you forget about me? But let me tell you, your timeline is not God's timeline. When you are in the waiting season, it's not because you've been forgotten. It's because you are being prepared. The longer the wait, the greater the blessing. God isn't denying you, He's developing you. What's coming is so big that He has to make sure you are ready to receive it. Forgiveness is the key to freedom. Holding on to bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Some of you are carrying things in your heart that are weighing you down. The people who hurt you have moved on, but you are still imprisoned by the pain. Forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. When you release them, you release yourself. You don't have to wait for an apology that may never come. Forgive them, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. The pain was the push you needed. Some of you wouldn't have stepped into your calling if life hadn't forced you to. You were comfortable. You were settling. You were stuck. So God had to shake things up. That storm you went through, that was your wake-up call. The rejection. That was your redirection, the struggle. That was your training ground. You were not created to stay in the same place. Growth is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. If you are feeling stretched, if you are feeling the pressure, if you are feeling like everything is falling apart, congratulations, you are in the process of transformation. Your comeback will be greater than your setback. Some of you thought it was over. You thought that failure was final. But I came to tell you, this is not where your story ends. Everything you lost, everything that was stolen, everything that was broken, God is about to restore it. And when He does, it won't look like what you lost. It will look like something better. The people who counted you out will have to watch you rise. The ones who said you would never make it will have to see you walk in victory. This is not the end. It is the beginning of something GRATR. Betrayal is the price of elevation. Betrayal is the price of elevation. It is the painful currency that life demands before granting access to the next level. It is the test that reveals who was really walking with you and who was merely walking near you. Betrayal never comes from enemies. It never comes from strangers. Betrayal comes from those who were close enough to shake your hand while holding a knife in the other. It comes from those who sat at your table, ate your food, smiled in your face, and whispered behind your back. If you have ever been betrayed, if you have ever felt the sting of being abandoned, misunderstood, or falsely accused, then hear me. You were not being destroyed, you were being prepared. Every betrayal is an announcement. It is a divine signal that something in your life is about to shift. Think about it. Look back at your life. Every time you were betrayed, something changed. You lost some people, but you found yourself. You were pushed out of some places, but you discovered where you really belonged. The betrayal you went through was necessary. If they hadn't walked away, you would have never walked forward. If they hadn't pushed you down, you wouldn't have learned how to rise. They thought they were breaking you, but they were actually building you. Let's be honest, betrayal hurts. It feels like a knife straight through your heart. It makes you question your worth, your choices, your trust in people. You sit there wondering, how could they do this to me after everything I did for them? But let me tell you something, loyalty cannot be tested in comfort. It is only tested in conflict. Some of the people you thought would be in your life forever were only there for a season. And when the season changed, they had to go. You are crying over people who were never designed to stay. Have you ever noticed how before the storm, the sky looks peaceful? That's how betrayal works. Everything seems fine, and then suddenly, boom. The person you trusted flips the script. The friend you confided in exposes your secrets. The partner you loved walks away like you meant nothing. And you sit there, broken, confused, and lost. But I need you to shift your perspective. Instead of asking, why did they do this to me? Start declaring, they had to do it. Because if they hadn't hurt you, you would have never healed. If they hadn't left, you would have never leveled up. If they hadn't turned on you, you would have never turned toward your destiny. Some betrayals don't just come in the form of lies or gossip. Sometimes betrayal is disguised as rejection. That job you gave everything to, suddenly letting you go. That opportunity you were counting on, suddenly disappearing. That person you thought had your back, suddenly turning their back on you. It feels unfair. It feels like life is punishing you. But what if I told you it wasn't rejection, it was redirection? That job had to let you go because God knew you were capable of building something greater. That door had to close because if it had stayed open, you would have settled for something beneath your worth. Have you ever tried to take off in an airplane? Before the plane reaches the sky, the pilot makes sure everything unnecessary is removed, excess baggage is left behind, anything too heavy is thrown out. Why? Because extra weight can keep you from elevation. That's why some people had to betray you. They were extra weight. They couldn't go where you were going. They were not equipped for your next level. And here you are, trying to hold on to them, dragging them into a future they were never meant to be part of. But listen, some goodbyes are blessings in disguise. Think about the people who left you. Think about the ones who counted you out. Now look at where you are today. You're still here. You're still standing. You're still growing. You thought their betrayal would break you, but it built you. You thought their words would destroy you, but they developed you. You are proof that no betrayal can cancel what God has already written for your life. You see, betrayal doesn't come to stop you. It comes to push you. Some of the greatest moments of transformation in your life will come from the people who hurt you the most. That friend who betrayed you, they taught you how to discern real loyalty. That business partner who stole from you, they forced you to step up and handle things yourself. That person who said you'd never make it. Their doubt became the fuel that drove you forward. Your enemies are the best free marketing team you will ever have. They spread your name even when you're not in the room. They talk about you, but they don't realize they're actually promoting you. Stop wasting your energy on bitterness. Stop trying to prove your worth to people who were never meant to see it. Betrayal is not your enemy. It is your escort into destiny. If they betrayed you, they just graduated you. If they turned against you, they just set you free. You don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to fight battles that are beneath you. The best way to handle betrayal is to rise so high that those who tried to bury you can no longer reach you. Look around, you are still here. After everything that happened, you are still standing. That means the betrayal didn't break you, it built you. The people who betrayed you were a necessary part of your journey. They didn't know it, but they were working for your good. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to hold grudges. Instead, be grateful. Thank them, because without them, you would have never realized that you were built for something G-I-T-A-R. Rejection is divine redirection. Rejection is divine redirection. It never feels that way in the moment. At first, rejection stings. It feels personal. It makes you question your worth, your abilities, your very existence. You sit there replaying the moment over and over again in your mind, wondering what you could have done differently. Maybe if you had worked harder. Maybe if you had said the right thing. Maybe if you had just been a little bit better. But let me tell you something. Rejection is never about you losing something. It is about you being positioned for something greater. Think about it. Every rejection you've ever faced led you somewhere new. That job you wanted so badly, but they chose someone else. It hurt. It made you feel like you weren't enough. But what if that rejection was actually protection? What if God knew that staying in that place would have drained your soul, stifled your creativity, and wasted your potential? What if He was pushing you towards something bigger? Rejection isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning of a better chapter. Some of the most successful people in the world were rejected before they ever got their breakthrough. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first job as a television anchor because they told her she wasn't fit for TV. Can you imagine that? Someone literally told Oprah she wasn't good enough for television. But what if she had believed them? What if she had let that rejection define her instead of refine her? Today, she's one of the most powerful women in the world. Not because she never faced rejection, but because she refused to let rejection have the final say. Rejection is a setup for redirection. Some of you are sitting in a season where it feels like every door is closing in your face. You apply for opportunities and they turn you down. You try to build relationships and they walk away. You give your all and it still isn't enough. But what if I told you that the doors that are closing are not shutting you out? They are shifting you in the right direction. What if I told you that the people who left didn't abandon you? They were removed for a reason. Some people cannot go where you are going. Some jobs cannot handle the weight of your destiny. Some opportunities are too small for the magnitude of your purpose. There was a little boy who loved flying kites. One day, he was running through the field, letting his kite soar high into the sky. But suddenly a strong wind came, pulling the kite so forcefully that the string snapped. The boy watched as his kite was taken by the wind, lost forever. He cried because he thought he had lost something precious. But days later, he went back to that same field and found an even bigger, more beautiful kite caught in the branches of a tree. He realized that if he had never lost the first kite, he would have never found the better one waiting for him. That's how life works. Sometimes, what you lose is only making room for something greater. Sometimes, the thing you are crying over is nothing compared to the thing that is coming. Some of you are holding on to relationships that are already over. You are trying to force doors open that were never meant for you. You are begging to sit at tables where you were never supposed to dine. But rejection is not a curse. It is a blessing in disguise. Have you ever tried to fit into a space that was too small for you? A shoe that was too tight? A chair that was too narrow? It's uncomfortable. No matter how much you try to squeeze in, you can't. That's what happens when you try to hold on to something that God has already removed. That's what happens when you try to force your way into places that were never designed for you. Rejection is God's way of saying, I have something better. I have something bigger. Let go of what you think you need so I can give you what I know you need. Some of you need to start thanking God for the rejections. Thank Him for the closed doors. Thank Him for the people who walked away. You thought you lost something, but you didn't lose. It was never yours to begin with. You thought you were being pushed down, but you were actually being pushed forward. The very thing you are crying about today will be the thing you praise God for tomorrow. A diamond is only formed under pressure. Gold is only purified in the fire. If you never face rejection, you will never know the strength of your own resilience. If you never get turned down, you will never understand the power of divine redirection. Some of you are standing at a closed door, knocking and knocking, when all along, God has already opened a bigger door down the hall. But you're too busy crying over what didn't work out to see the opportunity waiting for you. Have you ever looked back at a situation and realized that what you thought was the worst thing that could happen was actually the best thing that could happen? That breakup that shattered you, it saved you from a lifetime of misery. That job that rejected you, it freed you to start your own business. That opportunity that slipped through your fingers, it made room for something far greater. Rejection is a setup. It is the hand of God pushing you toward your true destiny. It is not a punishment, it is preparation. It is not the end, it is a beginning. The only question is, will you trust the process? Will you trust that what is coming is better than what was lost? Will you finally stop chasing what is leaving and start embracing what is arriving? Because the moment you do, you will realize that rejection was never a loss. It was always a redirection towards something far greater than you ever imagined. Isolation is preparation for revelation. Isolation is preparation for revelation. It never feels like it at first. When you find yourself alone, when the people you thought would stand by you suddenly disappear, when the noise of the crowd fades, it feels like abandonment. It feels like punishment. It feels like something is wrong. But what if I told you that isolation is not a prison, it is a process? What if I told you that the moments where you feel the most alone are actually the moments where you are being prepared for something greater? Have you ever noticed that before something great happens in your life, there is always a season of separation? Look at the caterpillar. Before it can become a butterfly, it has to go into isolation. It doesn't get to transform in front of an audience. It doesn't get applause for the struggle. It goes into a cocoon, hidden from the world, completely alone. And in that isolation, it changes. It grows wings. It becomes something it never knew it could be. And when it finally emerges, it is unrecognizable. That's what happens when you go through a season of isolation. It's not meant to break you. It's meant to build you. It's not meant to punish you. It's meant to prepare you. Think about the greatest inventions, the greatest works of art, the greatest breakthroughs in history. They didn't happen in front of a crowd. They happened in moments of deep solitude. The writer who isolates themselves to create a masterpiece. The athlete who trains in silence before stepping into the spotlight. The visionary who withdraws from the noise of the world to build something the world has never seen before. Isolation is where the real work happens. It's where you confront yourself, where you grow, where you develop the strength you need for the next level. Some of you are fighting against isolation when you should be embracing it. You keep wondering why people are walking away. You keep asking why certain friendships are fading, why certain doors are closing, why the phone isn't ringing like it used to. But maybe it's not rejection. Maybe it's protection. Maybe the distractions had to leave so you could finally hear the voice of destiny calling you forward. Maybe the noise had to die down so you could finally focus on the vision. Because as long as you are surrounded by the wrong voices, you will never hear the right one. Have you ever been in a crowded room trying to have a deep conversation? It's impossible. The voices around you drown out the voice you're trying to listen to. That's why isolation is necessary. Because there are things you need to hear, things you need to understand, things you need to discover that can only be revealed in solitude. You keep asking for clarity, but clarity comes in the quiet. You keep asking for direction, but direction comes in the stillness. You keep asking for strength, but strength is built in the seasons where you have no one to lean on but yourself. Some of the greatest transformations in life happen in isolation. When a seed is planted, it doesn't grow in the open. It is buried in the dark, deep in the soil, hidden from the world. It spends weeks, sometimes months, underground, developing roots, building a foundation. No one sees the process. No one claps for the struggle. But when the time is right, that seed pushes through the dirt and rises. And the same people who didn't notice it before suddenly see it standing tall. That's what happens when you go through a season of isolation. You are being buried, not to be forgotten, but to be prepared for your breakthrough. Some of you are in that buried phase right now. You feel like nothing is happening. You feel like you've been left behind. You feel like you are stuck in the dark, waiting for something to change. But let me tell you something. What feels like a delay is actually development. What feels like loneliness is actually preparation. What feels like silence is actually God speaking in ways you don't yet understand. You are not being buried, you are being planted. And when the time is right, you will rise. Look back at your life. Every time you went through a season of isolation, something changed. You lost some people, but you gained perspective. You went through pain, but you came out stronger. You were stripped of certain things, but you discovered who you really are. Isolation was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to reveal you, because sometimes the only way to find yourself is to be alone with yourself. So stop fighting the process. Stop chasing the people who left. Stop mourning the doors that closed. Start seeing this season for what it is. A time of transformation. A time of preparation. A time where you are being equipped for something greater than you ever imagined. Because when the time comes, when the moment is right, when the preparation is complete, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. And the same people who didn't see you in your cocoon will have no choice but to notice you when you spread your wings. The crushing produces the oil. The crushing produces the oil. Pressure produces power. Pain produces purpose. Nothing valuable is ever created without a process. You cannot have pure olive oil without crushing the olive. You cannot have the sweet fragrance of a flower without breaking the petals. You cannot have gold without the fire. The process that feels like it is breaking you is actually refining you. The very thing you are trying to escape from is the thing that is shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Have you ever wondered why the greatest things in life are produced through struggle? The most expensive perfume in the world does not come from flowers picked off a vine. It comes from flowers that have been crushed. The richest oil does not come from untouched olives. It comes from olives that have been pressed under extreme force. The brightest diamonds do not come from the surface. They are formed under intense heat and pressure deep within the earth. There is no greatness without struggle. There is no purpose without pressure. Think about your own life. The moments that changed you, that made you stronger, that forced you to grow, were they moments of ease? Or were they moments of difficulty? Moments where you felt like you were being crushed under the weight of life itself? The painful truth is that comfort never produces champions. No athlete wins gold by training in comfort. No warrior becomes strong without a battle. No leader rises to greatness without walking through fire. Every single person you admire, every single success story you have ever heard is a story of pressure, of struggle, of pain turned into power. Look at the caterpillar. It crawls, slow and small, living its life on the ground. But one day it enters a cocoon, and that cocoon is not a place of comfort. It is tight, it is dark, it is lonely, it is crushing. The caterpillar fights, it struggles, it pushes against the walls that hold it in. It feels like it is being buried alive. But what it does not realize is that every struggle is making it stronger. Every press against the cocoon is developing the muscles it will need to fly. And when the time comes, when the process is complete, the struggle that felt like it was killing the caterpillar is the very thing that gives birth to the butterfly. Some of you are in the cocoon right now. You feel trapped. You feel crushed. You feel like life is pressing down on you from every side. You feel like nothing is working. Like every door is shutting in your face. Like you are losing more than you are gaining. But what if I told you that this crushing is not the end of you? What if I told you that this is the exact that will reveal the power inside of you? Some of the best things in life come from what looks like destruction. A grain of wheat, if left alone, remains a grain. But if it is crushed, if it is ground into powder, if it is mixed with fire and water, it becomes bread that can feed thousands. A simple grape, if left untouched, will eventually rot and die. But if it is pressed, if it is crushed, if it is allowed to go through the process, it turns into fine wine that lasts for years. What if your struggles were not meant to destroy you, but to transform you? Think about the hardest moments in your life. The moments where you thought you couldn't survive. The nights you cried yourself to sleep. The days you felt like giving up. And yet, here you are, still standing, still breathing, stronger than before, wiser than before, more powerful than before. What you thought would break you actually built you. What you thought was crushing you was actually producing something inside of you. The reason why the crushing is painful is because it is removing everything that is not meant for your next level. It is squeezing out every fear, every doubt, every weakness that would hold you back. It is forcing you to let go people who were never meant to go with you into your destiny. It is breaking down the things in you that need to be rebuilt. The reason why the fire feels so hot is because it is purifying you, burning away the things that no longer serve you. Have you ever seen how gold is purified? It is placed into a furnace at temperatures so high that all impurities melt away. The fire does not destroy the gold, it only removes what does not belong. The hotter the fire, the purer the gold. The stronger the pressure, the more valuable the diamond. The deeper the crushing, the richer the oil. You are not being crushed for nothing. You are being prepared. The pain has a purpose. The pressure has a reason. The fire has an assignment. You are being made into something greater than you ever imagined. You are being turned into something that will shine, that will nourish, that will inspire. The crushing is not a curse. It is a process. And when the process is complete, the world will see what was hidden inside of you all along. Your enemies are secretly working for you. Your enemies are secretly working for you. The people who tried to break you, the ones who betrayed you, the ones who spoke against you, the ones who counted you out, they thought they were setting you up for failure. But they were actually setting you up for elevation. Every attack, every lie, every attempt to bring you down was not a sign of your weakness. It was confirmation of your strength. If you were truly insignificant, they wouldn't have bothered. If you had no value, they wouldn't have wasted their energy trying to stop you. The presence of enemies in your life is not a sign that you are failing. It is proof that you are a threat. Think about it. No one robs an empty house. No one tries to steal from someone who has nothing. The very fact that you have faced resistance means that there is something inside of you worth fighting against. The moment you start rising, the moment you start becoming, the moment you start stepping into your destiny, the attacks will come. People will question you. They will doubt you. They will slander your name. Not because you are wrong, but because they cannot handle your right. Not because you are weak, but because your strength exposes their weakness. Not because you are unworthy, but because your worth intimidates them. Have you ever noticed how crabs behave in a bucket? If one crab tries to climb out, the others will reach up and pull it back down. Not because they need to, not because they have to, but because they cannot stand to see another crab succeed where they remain stuck. Some people in your life have have the same mentality. They see you growing, they see you changing, they see you rising, and instead of celebrating you, they try to pull you back to where they are. They try to remind you of your past. They try to discourage your dreams. They try to make you question your own worth. But you must understand, their actions are not about you. They are about them. They are afraid of what your success says about their own failure. They are uncomfortable with your growth because it reminds them of their stagnation. But here's what they don't realize. The more they fight against you, the stronger you become. The more they try to stop you, the further you go. The very people who try to destroy you are the ones who end up pushing you into your destiny. Look at history. Every great leader, every successful person, every champion had enemies. Not because they were doing something wrong, but because they were doing something right. The attacks, the betrayals, the opposition, it was all a part of the process. Look at the story of the eagle. When a storm comes, most birds seek shelter. They hide, they avoid, they run. But the eagle spreads its wings, catches the wind, and rises above the storm. It doesn't fight against the wind. It uses the very force that should destroy it to elevate itself higher than it has ever been. That's what your enemies do for you. The very storm they send to break you is the wind that lifts you. The very lies they tell, the very betrayals they plan, the very obstacles they set in your way, they don't stop you. They make you unstoppable. Think about the people who hurt you, the ones who left you, the ones who laughed when you struggled, the ones who thought you would never make it. Do you realize that their actions were the very thing that pushed you to grow? If they hadn't rejected you, you wouldn't have discovered your true worth. If they hadn't abandoned you, you wouldn't have found your strength. If they hadn't doubted you, you wouldn't have worked twice as hard to prove them wrong. Their betrayal was your breakthrough. Their rejection was your redirection. Imagine a seed in the soil. It is covered in darkness, buried deep, surrounded by pressure. It seems like the end. But what the seed does not realize is that the very soil that surrounds it is giving it the nutrients it needs to grow. The very pressure that seems to be crushing it is the force that is preparing it to break through the ground. The dirt was never meant to bury the seed. It was meant to grow the seed. And when the time is right, when the roots are deep enough, when the strength has been built, the seed pushes through the dirt and rises. And the very ground that once covered it becomes the foundation that holds it up. Your enemies thought they were burying you. They thought they were covering you in shame, in pain, in failure. But what they didn't realize is that they were planting you. They were setting you up for growth. They were feeding the very fire inside of you that will not let you quit. Every obstacle they placed in your path only made you wiser. Every challenge they threw at you only made you stronger. Every time they tried to break you, they only built you. Think about a slingshot. The further it is pulled back, the more pressure is placed upon it, the more force is applied against it. The further it flies, the tension is necessary. The pullback is what creates the power. Some of you have been wondering why you've been feeling like life is pulling you back. Why you've been feeling the weight of opposition. Why it seems like everything has been pressing against you. But what if I told you that the pullback is not to break you? It is to launch you. It is to propel you forward further than you ever imagined. Your enemies do not have the final say. Their words do not define you. Their actions do not control your destiny. They are not your downfall. They are your stepping stones. They are the reason you will rise. They are the reason you will succeed. Every time they tried to hold you down, they unknowingly helped you build the strength to stand taller. Every time they tried to close a door on you, they unknowingly positioned you for a greater opportunity. You don't need to fight them. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't even need to respond. Because what they meant for harm, is already turning in your favor. What they plan to destroy you is already working for your good. What they thought was your ending is only the beginning. The more they press against you, the higher you will rise. The more they try to stop you, the further you will go. And one day, the very people who tried to hold you back will have no choice but to watch you soar. Delayed, not denied. There are moments in life when you feel like everything is standing still, when it seems like your dreams are perpetually on hold, and every door you knock on remains closed. In those moments, it's easy to think that you have been forgotten or left behind. But the truth is that you are not being denied what is meant for you. Your breakthrough is simply delayed, and that delay is deliberate. Every setback, every postponement, every moment that feels like a missed opportunity is actually a stepping stone to something much greater. When you are in the waiting season, remember that this is not a time to give up. It is a time to prepare, a time to learn, and a time to build the strength and resilience that you need for the blessings coming your way. Think of the everyday moments that remind you of the beauty of waiting. A young athlete who trains tirelessly every day, only to face defeat in early competitions, learns more from those losses than a single victory. With each loss, the athlete hones their skills, refines their strategy, and builds the endurance needed to eventually win the championship. This athlete's journey teaches us that every delay in success is not a rejection, but an opportunity to grow stronger. Much like a farmer who plants seeds and must patiently wait for the harvest, you too must trust that the timing of your life is divinely orchestrated. The process of growth requires time, nourishment, and persistence. What appears to be a delay is actually the meticulous work of nature, preparing you for a season of abundance. Imagine a musician who practices day in and day out, facing countless rejections at auditions and competitions. With each setback, the musician refines their art, finds new inspiration, and ultimately creates music that resonates with the souls of many. Their journey is filled with moments when the spotlight seems just out of reach. But every delay builds their character and deepens their connection with their craft. In your own life, the moments when plans are postponed or opportunities are deferred are the times when you are gathering your strength, learning essential lessons, and equipping yourself for a future that far exceeds your current understanding of success. Consider the story of a business owner who invests every waking moment into their startup, only to face repeated challenges that seem to stall progress. The business owner could have chosen to see each delay as a sign of failure, but instead, they recognize that each setback is a lesson in disguise. Every moment of delay provides them with the insight to improve their strategy, to innovate, and to prepare for a market that is ready for their unique vision. This mindset transforms a period of waiting into a powerful catalyst for eventual success, proving that delays are not denials, but opportunities to refine the very essence of what you are creating. In our daily lives, we often encounter delays that seem discouraging. It might be waiting for a promotion that never comes, waiting for the right person to walk into your life, or waiting for that perfect moment when everything aligns. Yet, if you observe nature, you will see that everything beautiful takes time. A tree does not grow tall overnight. It takes seasons of rain, sunshine, and even storms to develop deep roots and strong branches. Similarly, your life is being nourished by the trials and delays you experience. The longer the waiting period, the more you are being molded into someone who is ready to receive what is meant for you. Think about the relationship that seems to be delayed by circumstances beyond your control. A friendship that's evolving slowly, a love that takes time to blossom, or a project that requires patience to perfect. In these moments, you might feel that time is wasting away, yet every second is adding value to the final outcome. The delays are there to ensure that when you do step into your destiny, you do so with a foundation that is unshakable and a spirit that is unbreakable. They are there to guarantee that when you finally reach the peak of your journey, you have the wisdom, the strength, and the resilience to truly enjoy the view from the top. Every delay in your life is a chapter in a story that is uniquely yours. Instead of lamenting the waiting, embrace it as a period of preparation. Celebrate the small victories and learn from the obstacles that come your way. Understand that what feels like a postponement is actually the universe aligning the pieces of your destiny in perfect order. The more you trust in the timing, the more you will see that every delay has a purpose. Every waiting period has a lesson. And every moment of seeming inactivity is a prelude to an explosion of progress. There is an old saying that what is meant for you will never pass you by. This is not a promise of immediate gratification, but a guarantee that your efforts, your patience, and your persistence will bear fruit in due time. The delay you experience is not a denial of your worth or your potential. It is the universe's way of ensuring that when you do receive your reward, it is all the more satisfying because you truly earned it. Every disappointment, every delay, every moment when the light seems dim is intricately woven into the fabric of your success, proving time and again that being delayed is not the same as being denied. The fire you have walked through was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to refine you. The people who hurt you, the ones who doubted you, the storms that shook you, they were never a sign of your failure. They were proof of your strength. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified in fire. The strongest warriors are not born in comfort. They are forged in battle. And you, my friend, are being shaped into something greater than you can imagine. The pain you have endured was not wasted. The struggles you faced were not in vain. Everything that was meant to break you has only made you unbreakable. The greatest success stories in history were not written by people who had an easy road. They were written by those who refused to surrender in the face of adversity. They were written by people who turned their pain into power, their wounds into wisdom, their struggles into stepping stones. You were never meant to stay in the valley. You were never meant to be crushed beneath the weight of life's challenges. The very fact that you are still standing, still breathing, still fighting, is evidence that there is more ahead of you than what you have left behind. You must understand this. No storm lasts forever. No darkness can hold back the sunrise. No winter can stop the arrival of spring. And no pain you have endured will keep you from the destiny that was designed for you. The people who walked away from you, the ones who betrayed you, the ones who laughed at you in your struggle, they will one day have to watch you rise. Because when you are destined for greatness, no amount of opposition can keep you down. History has shown us time and time again that the ones who are underestimated, the ones who are rejected, the ones who are counted out, those are the ones who rise the highest. They said Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. But he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company before he built the greatest tech empire in the world. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television before she became one of the most influential women on the planet. The lesson is simple: rejection is not the end. Failure is not final. Pain is not permanent. Every setback is a setup for a greater comeback. The same people who tried to bury you will one day realize that they were watering a seed. The same hands that tried to pull you down will be the ones applauding when you rise. The very experiences that tried to break you will be the reason you become unstoppable. The pain you felt yesterday is building the strength you will use tomorrow. So don't be discouraged by the struggles. Don't be defeated by the delays. Don't let the opposition make you question your worth. Because the road to greatness is never easy, but it is always worth it. There is something powerful inside of you that no storm, no enemy, no rejection can take away. You have walked through fire, but you did not burn. You have faced giants, but you did not fall. You have been knocked down, but you did not stay down. That is why you will rise. That is why you will succeed. That is why your story is far from over. So when you feel tired, when you feel broken, when you feel like giving up, remember why you started. Remember the strength that has carried you this far. Remember that the most beautiful things in life are born out of struggle. The tallest mountains were once buried beneath the earth. The strongest trees had to push through the dirt to reach the sunlight. And you, yes, you are growing, you are rising, you are stepping into something greater than you can imagine. The greatest revenge is success. The best answer to your doubters is your achievements. The most powerful response to those who hurt you is to rise so high that they can't ignore you. You don't have to prove them wrong with words. Let your results speak for you. Let your success silence their doubts. Let your elevation make them question why they ever doubted you in the first place. The pain was necessary. The struggle was part of the process. The rejection was a redirection. But now it is your time. It is your season. It is your moment to rise. So stand tall, walk boldly, and never let the weight of your past keep you from stepping into the greatness that awaits you. Because the world is waiting for you to step into your power, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what was meant for you